Hey everybody, Ryan Huggins here, and in this video, we're gonna go with secret number 2 of the 21 secrets of being an entrepreneur, and this secret is called crafting for kings. All right, great everybody. So let's go ahead and get right in here. And as you can see with the monitor behind me, secret number 2 is called crafting for kings. You can also call it your network is your net worth. And this goes back to the book of Solomon. And as you guys know or may not know, but Solomon was one of the richest people in the entire world ever. And what it says here is, do you see a man who excels in his business? He will stand before kings and not ordinary people. So what that means is people who excel in their business and they do it with speed, they are usually then introduced to the higher ups, right? So people that are successful usually get introduced to more successful people. And I'm going to explain how this would relate to you as an entrepreneur. So do you see a man who excels in his business? He will stand before kings, not before ordinary people. And you can actually think about this in your own life scenarios, right? So do you know anyone who is really, really successful in their business, and they probably are networking with more successful people as opposed to ordinary people? And you know what's interesting, like this is one of those controversial subjects because standing before kings, and this doesn't mean kings of countries, this could be kings of kings meaning leaders, high profile people, things of that nature instead of ordinary people. And what's interesting with this actually is I grew up, I would say, in ordinary life, right? I grew up in a lower middle class family, didn't have much, things of that nature. And we associated with people in that type of life circumstances as well. And he will stand before kings is, even if you're an ordinary person, you excel in business, you excel in something, you will then be elevated in life as well. And so I know a lot of people, this is controversial because of the fact that, you know, some people who see success as evil, right? And that is true. There are people in this world that see success as evil, but you have to understand that successful people have done more good than evil in the world. So just because someone's successful does not mean they're an evil person. And if you are an ordinary person right now, as I was, you can also become a leveled up person as far as that goes. So I wanted to kind of start off with that, crafting for kings. What that kind of means is when you're doing things, activities, when you're at your job, when you're working around the house, when you're doing anything, crafting for kings is you want to perform at a level that somebody would be impressed with your work. Even if no one's looking, even if you, like literally no one was watching at all, you want to perform at the highest level. No shortcuts, no cutting corners, things like that. So that's the introduction here to this tip of crafting for kings. You're doing your duties as if it were to please someone that you wanted to impress. All right, and it is okay to want to impress people. So let's move on here. So take notice of a person who is skilled in his business, is kind of going back to what that last slide there was. Go as far as that goes. Take notice of a person who is skilled in his business. There isn't much competition here in reality. Most people are happy being average. So if you talk about like I've worked a lot of jobs, right? And there are some people that are totally cool with just getting by. Like literally clock watchers, you know, they're at work to do the minimum amount of effort they can to get a paycheck. And that's it. They just want to get by, right? And those people are working for income from a job. Those people are helping build someone else's business. Those people are someone who wants to build someone else's dreams. And when it comes to this, you want to build your own dreams, your own business. You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to take it to the next level. You'll take notice of people who are skilled in business, and you'll see that. And it stands out. Look at your job if you've ever worked at one. People you work around. people who try hard and do well are always noticed. And you might even be jealous of those people sometimes. I know I have been in the past, but I also didn't have this mindset or this idea of being an entrepreneur sometimes back in my life, right? Where you're like, oh, look at that person, sniffing the manager's butt or whatever, you know what I mean? Like brown noser, those types of things. But in reality, those are just high level achievers. So just keep that in mind. There is a major difference between kings and ordinary people, and we know that. Like, for example, in the world, there are upper class people and there are lower class people. And yes, it is because of the fact of the money, but it also has a lot to do with the way they carry themselves. And it also has a lot to do with their ambition in life. They are ordinary because they enjoy being ordinary. Either that or they're like me. I was ordinary, but I hadn't had the opportunity to get out of ordinary and get up to the next level, which this video series will help you do. All right, so next we are going to go to the next slide here. Influence with a pure heart. You want to climb up the ladder of influence. So when you are at your job or working around people, you are not doing it to be a butt kisser or a brown noser. You're doing it because you genuinely know that if you work hard and do a great job, it's going to pay off, right? You're not doing it for other people to see you doing it. You're doing it because your heart calls for you to do it. And that's what you feel more comfortable doing. And that will then allow you to climb up the ladder. So it kind of goes to in business when you want to get a promotion, right? So you're at a job, you're an employee, you have a supervisor, you have a manager. A lot of times as an employee, you deal with the supervisor only, right? And you don't really get to talk to the manager. So the manager is kind of in charge of you getting your promotions and stuff, and the supervisor's middleman. Well, when you work hard every day, you shouldn't be mad at the supervisor. You should actually impress the supervisor so much that he has to go to the manager and be like, this guy or this girl, they are an extreme performer and they need to, you get noticed that way. And it's like that in industry. It's like that with everything that you do. You work hard to perform your duties at a high level. People will recognize it, and you'll get taken up to the next level for that. And also, you may not have access to, like for example, going back to that example though, you got the supervisor, the manager, and then the manager's manager that doesn't even work in your location. You might be the general manager or a regional manager. You performing at a high level down here could get the ear of the general manager because you're impressing the local. You know what I'm saying? So you may not even have access to that regional manager, general manager, but because you work so hard, same thing in life, business, entrepreneurship. You may not be able to secure a loan because of the people you know, but if you impress someone so heavily over here, they tell their friend, their aunt, their uncle, or somebody who has a ton of money that you need a loan. So who are you impressing to get those things taken care of? Ask yourself, who is a person that I know who has a connection in the next sphere of influence? So a lot of you guys may know of the 6 degrees of separation, right? So you're here, and then you got the first degree outside of you, the second degree outside of that, third degree outside of that, 6 degrees. We are all connected to everyone. We know the president of the United States through 6 of our friends. And so you got to ask yourself, who is the person I know who has a connection to the next sphere of influence? So if you're doing business and you need to get sales and you need to get it to people who can actually buy it, right? You may be hanging around ordinary people. That may be your level. That may be your starting point. But you impress some of your ordinary friends and they start telling their friends and family and coworkers or bosses at their job about you. And that's what your goal is, to get the ear of the next sphere of influence. You have to impress the people in your immediate area, and the word will get out to the next level of influence, and so on. And this is where quantum growths can happen. You know, you can even have some level degree skips. So let's say, for example, you're here and you tell one of your friends, or if you're in a home-based business, you recruit somebody here, and then because of that person, they bounce you out 3 levels of influence, and now you've got a huge level of influence because of someone you knew. So because you impressed them enough for them to introduce you. So you have to impress people in your immediate area. That will get the word out to the next level, and so on. And this is where quantum growth happens. All right, so moving on to the next one here. Who are the people that would see your work and be impressed? Think about that, right? Of your friends, like think of even Facebook, for example. Who in your Facebook list would see your work and be impressed? That's your goal. Your goal is to impress people. You know, you may have to clean up a little bit. You may have to try a little harder, things like that. Your goal is to be impressive because people will then want to join you in anything that you're doing. You'll create raving fans of yourself, of your brand. Remember, you're really ultimately building a brand. It doesn't even matter what company you're representing. You're building a brand of you. Who are you and how are you going to be up here? A king brand, right? You're going to be a king or a queen if you're a woman. Whose smile are you seeking? That's a good one. I really like that, right? Whose smile are you seeking? And spiritually, you would want to impress the ultimate king, right? So it is okay to impress people. And it doesn't matter what religion that you're in, your ultimate goal is to impress the ultimate king as far as that goes. And that obviously would be a God. And God is God. So you want to impress him as well. So make sure you're doing everything honestly and working ethically. But let's be in the here and the now, though, right? Where we're at right now. Well, you may be working at Verizon Wireless, or you may be working at Lowe's, or whatever the case may be. And right now, you have Todd in customer service that you want to impress, and you have Juan in the sales department that you want to impress. That's real world right now. You want to work hard and do great work and impress those people, because then you get the ear of the next level up. All right, cool. And kings seem to magnify everything. If you think about this one, I like this one a lot. Kings seem to magnify everything. So you don't go to a king's office and see a bunch of junk items, right? You don't see a desk, a pen, his clothes, the lighting in the office or her office being junk. You would never see that. A king or a leader, extreme business professional is not going to have a crappy desk, a crappy pair of shoes, a crappy shirt, so on and so forth. Ordinary people, they live the it's just a life, right? It's just a pen. It's just lights. It's just clothes. It's just shoes, right? You know those people, oh, it's just, but kingly, when you live kingly, you want nice things. Like here's an example for you, right? So a king or a leader in business would have a $10,000 to $20,000, like a Mont Blanc pen, right? $5,000, $20,000. There's pins out there that go up to 50, 60 even. But a king or a leader in business would have that because of the fact that they would use that pin and they would have pride in that pin, and they would say it's because when they use the pin to write their signature, it comes from that pin. That's literally them giving out their kingliness through the pin. And you would never sign $1 million deal with a 30-cent Bic pen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen that way. And kings recognize that, and that's why they always have higher level things. All right. So you can always think about the ultimate business person and how awesome their office is, and like the dream office that you wish you had. I know I wish I had some office. Mine's coming along pretty well, but I can still level up. So let's talk about art. So in the art world, you'll notice that you would sell to a lot of high income people. That's who the customers are. They're kings. They're leaders in their industry. They're not really ordinary people that are buying art. So my girlfriend, she's an artist, and she sells pieces that are $10,000 and up as far as art goes. And ordinary people say, why the hell would you spend that much money on art? And we've heard people say that, our own friends, like, whoa, that's way too much. Who buys art for that? That is ridiculous, and so on. Because they would go and they would buy a $50 G-Clay print from Ross that has no value, and they would think it's cool, right? Like if you've ever seen good art, great canvas, a good frame even sometimes, but you see a painting at Ross where it's like the edges are folded over and it's just like there is no real value in that. It's just trash. But art, original art, when you think about it, if you buy an art from an artist, that original art, the price is an actual investment because art goes up in value, but the enjoyment of owning real art is also incredible. So kingly people, leaders, they buy nice art. And they have those things. Like we have tons of art because my girlfriend's an artist, but we also buy other people's art. It's because we respect it and it's nice. It's good to have. It's upper level. You want to stand before kings and you want to become a king when it comes to being an entrepreneur. The air is so much cleaner up there, right? Because, right, like think about regular level area. You got tons of people and they're just sucking up all the oxygen. When you get up to the top levels, there's less people up there. They call it the 1%ers, right? It's not bad being a 1%er. I mean, there are some bad people out there, but in reality, they do a lot of good. It's just people who are the 99% that don't have the entrepreneur, that don't want to live a kingly life, they hate those people. They're haters. And that's why you want to get away from the haters, right? So you need to magnify meaning as a marketer, as an entrepreneur and as a marketer. You need to magnify meaning of everything in your life. Kings magnify meaning, and you should be doing that as well. Things mean things, everything. The setup for this video means something, the way I put it. So the internal question is, it equals, is it okay to go for kingly? Is it okay to go for kingly? Is it okay to be the top 1%? Is it okay to even go after that? Because some people say, oh, you can't do that because it's politically correct to say, oh, no, everyone's equal. That's true. But ordinary people, they live an ordinary life. I'm living extraordinary. And there is no stigma. Only ordinary people say there's a stigma. So I say no. Ordinary people, they say yes, there is, but I say no, there is not. So I did also want to go ahead and throw in a bonus for you. At this point, you can go to winwithryan.com, and just to go over a couple of things. As an entrepreneur, I've studied entrepreneurism for a very long time, very, very long time. And I struggled for a very, very long time. I've had businesses that have done extremely well and then go bankrupt, not physically actually bankrupt, but like the business goes away, you know? And I've struggled. I found it really hard a lot of times. And I've been in struggling places. And I remember looking on the internet, like how to make money on the internet. And I see all these people traveling the world and living the lifestyle of the dream, and you know, basically working from home from their laptop, living in their pajamas every day. And I was like, why can't I do that? I want to know how to do that. I want to be able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. And I believe every one of you want to live that lifestyle too. So I hope you come on this journey with me. If you go to winwithryan.com, you can check out all the details on how I've been able to do it and leave the 9-to-5 job, work from my laptop, anywhere I have internet. It is fantastic. So if you want to live the lifestyle of your dream and go anywhere, anytime, with whomever you want, then check out winwithryan.com. Thank you so very much for sticking with me on this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Click on the bell and select all, so that way you can get all the notifications of all my videos that I shoot out there for you. And also, if you love this content, make sure you smash the thumbs up button there for me. Thank you so very much. And again, this was secret number 2, crafting for kings. You should be out there working to impress leaders and kings. Have a wonderful day.